Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome back to another video. My name is Dante, aka Dante DeFi, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things. One of them being the overall market and how we've gotten to the point we're at now, and what I really think is my theory or my thesis on where we're at with the market. And then we're also going to be talking about a few different things. We're going to be talking about bittensor Tau. We're going to be talking about KASPA. We're going to be talking about AERO, three projects that we've talked about in the past that I do believe have some conversating to be had. Just general updates, right, on my thesis and where they have gone since the last time we've talked. There has been some FUD, some fear, uncertainty, and doubt that has been pushed out to the kind of greater crypto space regarding Tau. And I think what we're seeing right now is something that we've seen in other cycles, and it's just kind of human psychology. Honestly, it's repeating itself over and over again. Now, this is the main thing, right? Is our entries into these projects. Tau, my entry was under $100. It's at 500, ranging between $500 and $600 right now. My entry into KAS was under 5 cents. It's ranging at 13 cents. My entry into AERO was 20 cents. It's ranging at $1.36. The point is, my entries were so much lower than where we're at now, to the point where I'm not really adding to these positions. I'm not really looking to enter any more risk into the market than I already have. I'm basically just sitting on my hands as much as possible and trying to wait out and see how we do. Because honestly, if we look at how quickly Bitcoin has gone up and surpassed its all-time highs, it has been very quick. I remember us talking right here in this time period and being not sure that the market was going to turn around as quickly as it did. I was literally tweeting about how I didn't think we were going to see too much positive price action for Bitcoin, and I was completely wrong. I was completely wrong, and we saw this this shoot up to around 45K, and that's when I realized that I was wrong about my thesis down here. But the thing is, the most important thing is the lesson here is that even when I believed that the market was not going to turn around here, I still, even though it was honestly genuinely terrifying to do so, I still had started adding exposure to crypto at these points in time. Again, it was not publicly, I was not publicly saying it's a good time to get in because I didn't believe so, but I was wrong. And even though I was wrong on my thesis and I went against my thesis and invested here thinking that we still had more time, that's honestly how I kickstarted my portfolio for this run over here, because everything that I bought down here, served me very well once we got around here, because then I was able to reallocate a lot of what had gone 2, 3, 4x from the bottom here with Bitcoin, mainly altcoins that had gone 3 or 4x. I reallocated into things like Tau, KASPA, AERO, and then those did multiples from there. From when we were here in just around December, January time to where we're at now in April. So I got very lucky, guys. I think a lot of people were underexposed. The markets were super dead. Crypto Twitter, the sentiment was super dead for most of this period right here. And then people started believing that we might actually have some positive price action around October time, if I'm being real. I want to talk about ETH real quick, because ETH is a project where it's the second biggest crypto in the space, right? And in terms of my thesis around ETH, I look at it as a beta to Bitcoin. I feel as though even though it might not be as scalable, it might not be the internet computer that, the masses flock to in the future when it comes to crypto adoption, I still believe there's going to be some value to ETH as a store of value settlement layer. And that is my basic thesis on ETH, and that's why I hold in my, in terms of large caps, I hold ETH. Sentiment-wise, ETH has probably got the worst sentiment I have seen in my, 4 years of following the price of ETH and following the community and development of ETH. So that's pretty impressive in terms of how bad the sentiment is. I can tell you 100% it's because of, not 100%, but a lot of it has to do with Solana and the amount of users and just activity in general that have been going on the Solana blockchain. But I think that Solana is kind of like a band-aid solution to a lot of ETH's problems. And again, where the money goes, where the money flows is where we want to be. Where the liquidity goes, that's where we want to be. So if the liquidity shifts to Solana long term, then eventually I will go to Solana. Moment we're in right now, I think with layer 2s, I think Base, if you've been following us on this channel, I think Base is a huge narrative, and I think it is a huge liquidity grab that could solidify some sort of fundamental value for Ethereum as long as the Ethereum layer 2s actually scale. And like I said, when I look at things like Coinbase is one of the most influential and has the most amount of resource to understand where this market is going. And if they decided to build on top of Ethereum on a layer 2 for Base, then I believe there's some intrinsic value still there within Ethereum itself. And so I'm not giving up on it yet. But again, the market, changes every single day. When I'm talking to people who aren't in this market every single day, I talk to them about how this market, literally my thesis on the market from today can change tomorrow based on something that happens, because we are so early. It is still extremely early. A huge part of what we thought blockchains would be used for 2 years ago in the last bull cycle, which is artificial intelligence and machines using blockchains, we didn't even really have that narrative or have that understanding of this might be what blockchains are actually used for. Conveniently moving on to Tau now, because this directly correlates with kind of where we're going with this conversation. One of the massive narratives of this cycle is artificial intelligence. If you were following the crypto space, I would say in the 6 months between June to the start of 2023, that was probably the worst part of the bear market, right? The quote unquote bear market. In that time, there was a lot of people screaming about artificial intelligence being the next big narrative. And it was the one big narrative that stuck through the whole bear market that people were still speculating on, regardless of how bad the market got. And we saw that with Tau. Tau was the most obvious play, honestly, of 2023, along with things like KASPA. If you were looking for not complete degenerate exposure to altcoins, Tau was a kind of a calculated risk you could have taken. And obviously it's taken off. There's, Grayscale, Barry, whatever his name is, the guy who's a part of Grayscale, who is in the spaces around bittensor. He's put the Tau logo in his bio on Twitter. Like, insane stuff has gone on since then. And this project, in terms of people's understanding or awareness, was so low. Not so long ago, guys. It was not so long ago that nobody was talking about Tau. And the price action is what got people's attention, and now it's what's keeping people around. But what Tau has opened my eyes to, and a lot of people's eyes to, is that blockchains might not even be things that, humans are using as much as machines are actually using to operate and exchange value over the internet with different kinds of mechanisms and applications, right? So that's a huge epiphany that you may have or have had with utility of artificial intelligence and blockchain as part of necessary infrastructure to incentivize artificial intelligence and the development of it. And I know that might be kind of hard to conceptualize, but Tau right now is one of the leaders in that narrative. And so I'm not saying, this is really to address the FUD. I'm not saying that Tau is going to do all of the things and accomplish all of the things that a lot of people, if you go and look at the biggest bulls on Tau, you read what they're saying, and they're talking about it like it's Bitcoin. It is going to decentralize artificial intelligence and the development of artificial intelligence, just like Bitcoin decentralized finance. Way back when, and has now, progressed into a store of value. But my point is, the reason I don't buy into any of the FUD right now around Tau is because I think it has one of the best narratives in the space, and they are trying to build something. They definitely are trying to build something. Whether they accomplish their goals or not is one thing, but if we're going to play out in terms of a strictly trading game here, I'm gonna place my bets with things like Tau, because I think that narrative, based on the narrative, we could see higher prices for Tau before the end of this bullish cycle for crypto, however that does go on. Now, of course, there's other projects in the space that are going to do well alongside Tau that also have that AI narrative going for them, but a lot of projects from 2021 and before have pivoted to changing their whole mission to be AI related when a lot of what they were doing prior to that was not AI related, just to kind of stay relevant and catch up to the likes of Tau. That being said, again, at $500, am I going all in on Tau? No, I'm not. Like I said, I'm not adding any more to my Tau bag than I did sub 100. I added some, right here on this dip. I was really lucky, guys. I was really lucky to have been able to get in on this dip. It's just from me being able to say that I watched the price action on this for so long that it was pretty obvious at this certain point that we were at right here, that this was a turning point in the chart, and the tokenomics and the incentive model that Tau has created has played out very well. But then there's also huge issues around, well, hey, we're creating decentralized AI, but for a development group to register a subnet, at one point it was $7 million to register a subnet. That is just not, how are we going to say that this is a way to decentralize AI development if it costs $7 million? Upwards of $7 million just to register a subnet? That's a little interesting. That's a conversation for the future. All of you Tau maxis, let me know. I want to hear the people who are in the weeds with this stuff, what you guys think. I'm not in the weeds with every single project that I'm a part of. I just, I follow the narratives as closely as possible, because at the end of the day, guys, I'm not a developer. So I'm looking at this from a investment risk reward standpoint. KASPA, another one that, again, the narrative I think is huge for KASPA, but it is one you're going to have to be patient with. I've followed KASPA since sub 5 cents. I've been buying since sub 5 cents, and I have added to my positions on major dips. I bought in at 8 cents. I bought in at, when it dipped down here, around 10 cents. And guys, if it continues losing steam and we continue dipping with the overall market, I will reallocate some more cash to KASPA, because I am very comfy in this hold. This narrative is going to play out over a much longer time period than some of this other stuff. It's going to become very obvious at a certain point when certain artificial intelligence protocols are just, they're not doing what they're saying they're trying to do. And it'll become more obvious at that point. KASPA is trying to do something on a scale that, is with the size and of mission and vision that Bitcoin had, right? So that can play out over a lot longer of a time period. So I'm not as concerned about checking prices with KASPA or wondering what KASPA is doing on a day-to-day basis. I'm more so looking at the adoption of KASPA, and again, as a proof of work model, we have some historicals to go off of with how Bitcoin was adopted, and we're going to just use that data to look at if KASPA is continuing to grow organically, and if it's not, then at a certain point in time, we will exit our position in KASPA. But where we are right now, like I said, if you had sub 5 cent entries, if you have sub 10 cent entries, as we continue on into potentially more bullish territory for the crypto markets, you don't really have to worry that much about what KASPA is doing in the short term. But that being said, with the way the markets are moving and liquidity is flowing very quickly in this market, guys, and this is not new users coming to the space. In my opinion, we've discussed this as a whole on Twitter as well, is that I believe most of this volume is coming from crypto natives, people who have been here, and the trading is quick and fast, and money is moving very fast in and out of different projects. And so you can get burned really easily. This is not inexperienced crypto movements, crypto activity, in my opinion. This is coming from people who have been here for more than 2 weeks that are trading these markets right now. So it's a game that again is constantly evolving, and I don't think it's as easy as it seems on the outside. So don't assume that it's easy to come in here and just start making money because of the way meme coins are running and the way a lot of these projects have run. I don't think it's as easy as it may seem. And the final project that I want to talk about is AERO, because we have touched on this in other videos. I think I've only made one video on AERO, to be fair, but AERO, if you were following me on Twitter, we were discussing the base, the shift in liquidity from Solana into Base. And we were talking about this and how AERO would be pivotal to that as the central liquidity hub for Base. And that thesis has played out thus far. Base continues to be a place now that more attention has come to. If you go look at the kind of amount of volume that is trading on Base, it has grown exponentially. And we were talking about this in our last video, but it's still only the 8th biggest chain in the entire market. So there's still potential for so much more liquidity to enter the Base ecosystem. For that reason, I am incredibly bullish on AERO moving forward, because it's got a total value locked of almost 600 million. And at the time that we started investing in it, it was at 150 million. So it was like right here. And again, guys, everyone's going to get so many calls wrong or plays wrong in the crypto space, but we really did play this one perfectly, because right as we invested into AERO and into the base ecosystem and laid out our thesis, it has played out almost perfectly. So again, for the long term, I do see potential for Base and AERO. And I think that as long as we can be patient, this is really exciting. Being early to the Base ecosystem is a really exciting place to be, because there's no telling how much bigger this can get over time. And in my opinion, I'm very long on Coinbase. I'm biased because of that. And, obviously I'm sharing my complete biases with you. I am very biased towards Coinbase, because I believe that they have the resources not to mess this up, to be honest. And they have so much potential to really, really have a foothold on the US market and then the global market as an extension of that, if they can get this right with how they roll out their ecosystem. And so far, liquidity is coming to the space, or to Base, I should say, and the protocols that are being adopted or pushed out on the ecosystem are really good. So I'm really excited for what's to come with Base and AERO. But again, this is just another narrative and a cycle in DeFi specifically that I'm following, that I am I'm extremely bullish on it at this point. And that doesn't mean that the prices are just going to go up forever. I'm just saying that I think that long term, this is going to play out in our favor. So yeah, those are the massive narratives, guys, that I'm kind of tackling, spending all of my time on when I am in the trenches of the crypto space. I think AERO is a really great infrastructure play. I think Tau, again, is potentially a really good infrastructure play. I think CAS is just one of those narratives you can't ignore, because it is trying to be the next thing after 15 years of development on what Bitcoin was originally. And the developers behind KASPA do have a serious track record, and some kudos to their name. So it's not like it's just being put out there by nobody. And of course, KASPA, Tau are both fair launched. I love that about them. And so, yeah, I think I'm like a crypto OG. For a lot of you crypto OGs, the ones who kind of like the purity of the ideas of decentralization and all these things, I think idealistically, KASPA, Tau, they fit right in with you. And then AERO is just, this is where the markets are going. This is where the money is flowing. We can't ignore it at this point. So yeah, all that being said, this has been an update on, my theses, if that's even a word, and the market as a whole. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please, please make sure you like the video. Let's get it to 100 likes. Let's, also drop some comments, subscribe. I put my KASPA wallet in the description as well, guys. I don't, do a lot of sponsors. Traditionally, I've only done one. And obviously, it's just a way to support the channel. I'm going to put it down there. See if you're welcome to donate to the channel if you want to. You absolutely don't have to, obviously. But, I'm going to put it down there and see where we can get to with that. See if anyone's willing to donate some KASPA. I'm a big KASPA believer. I'm a KASPA bull. So, I'm willing to keep it, whatever I get in donations in KASPA. All right, guys. I will leave you with that. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And I'll see ya. Peace.